Here we go. We finally get to talk about my guy, my GOAT, the strongest creature on Earth. Drum roll, please. I said drum roll. Yeah, there we go. YUJIRO HANMA. Sit up straight when I say his name. If I see any one of you slouching, I'm obligated to whoop yo. We gotta discuss YUJIRO HANMA as a father. This may not be my proudest tug, but here goes nothing. So it all starts about 18 years ago. YUJIRO is at this lame party. This isn't some backstory that turned him into who he is, nah. He's already that nigga and been that nigga. So he's posted up on the wall on some nonchalant and this lady right here was geeked. She could not take her eyes off bro. Girl, I don't even blame you. I'm joking, y'all, I'm joking. But she was eyeing him all night. And I'm not gonna lie, at times I couldn't tell if she's scared of bro or if she's just that down bad. But the thing is, she did not pull up by herself. She pulled up with some lame nigga. And he noticed she was geeking over YUJIRO, so he went to go press him. Hold on. We are not doing this in 2025. Top 3 worst mistakes you can make. Why are you pressing the guy? Press your girl instead, you knucklehead. So this lame nigga was feeling disrespectful and he threw a plate of Resident Evil slop on YUJIRO and holy aura. You know what YUJIRO did? He grabbed his girl and shoved his tongue down her throat. We're gonna be 100% transparent here, y'all. Do not try this at home. You will end up on a special list and trust me, you don't want to be there. But bro was livid. They went back to the hotel and we learned some devious information. The nigga she was with is her husband. This nigga was going off on her. He said, this whole time you was frontin' and I ain't see it in you. Now I'm thinking, what was you doing when I ain't sleep with you? And this right here was gut wrenching. He's going off on her, calling her all types of names, and he mentioned the name YUJIRO HANMA, and her eyes lit up immediately. That's the only thing that caught her attention in the entire argument. Yeah, it's time for a divorce, little bro. I'm not gonna lie, she had some grade A manipulation. She ended up calling this nigga a monster, but oh my god, how did this nigga get inside the telly? Either this nigga has some crazy Catwoman powers we don't know about, or this was the craziest backdoor we've ever seen. This nigga went to go call for backup, but nah, they all got bodied. Then he really grabbed this grown man by his neck and... So he grabbed this lady and told her, you're gonna give me a son named Baki, and he'll be the strongest nigga alive. Good day. I gotta be honest with y'all, I wasn't even there, but my timbers have been shivered. So bang. Baki is born and his mom does everything in her power to make sure he's strong like YUJIRO requested. She buys all the best equipment, has this nigga training day in and day out. She made sure this nigga had a 6-pack at 4 years old. Baki's entire childhood was running fades and working out. There was no such thing as recess. But his mom doesn't even care about him for real. She just pays for the training and that's that. All she wants is YUJIRO to be happy that he has a strong son. This has to be top 5 most dysfunctional families in anime. And YUJIRO shows up every once in a while to check in on Baki and ask him, you still a weak nigga or nah? He even pulled up on Baki when he was, you know what I'm saying? You're weird, buddy. But YUJIRO is doing all this because he eventually wants to run a father versus son fade with Baki. He sleeps, breathes, and eats fades. This nigga has no competition, so he had to make his own. Imagine having a son strictly just to beat his. This nigga didn't have toys or anything. The only thing to keep you occupied is these hands. He didn't even give Baki a chance for real. He thought he was ready and gave this nigga the beats at 13. So bang. YUJIRO pulls up on Baki and they're about to start going at it. But all of a sudden a whole earthquake happens. And YUJIRO HANMA punched the earthquake to make it stop. Is this even scientifically possible? But Baki's trying to put him in the Dolph Ziggler sleeper hold. And YUJIRO was like, get your off me, boy. And Baki is swinging with everything he has. Bop, bop, bop. And this nigga YUJIRO was giving an entire Grammy speech while eating all those weak hits. He's thanking the entire crowd for coming out to watch him beat Baki's. He's like, I want to shout out all my niggas, my mom, dad, grandpa, cousins. I never would have thought my pipsqueak of a son would have made it this far. Now I have to body him. And when he said that, Baki's mom was geeked. She saw Yujiro happy for the first time. That's crazy. The first time he's been happy is him trying to body his own son. But we gotta talk about how much of a glazer Baki's mom is. Yujiro can do no wrong in her eyes. If you want to body your son, go ahead, my king. He must have did something to deserve it. Like what? So Yujiro starts giving it to Baki. I never want to be in this position in my life. Then Yujiro started giving this nigga the ground and pound treatment, cheesing mad hard. He was having the time of his life. This is his version of Disneyland. And the crowd is like, all right, he's actually about to get bodied. We got to end this. And they're telling his mom to stop the fight. And guess what she says, y'all? She said, no. But she ended up giving in and socked Yujiro and got her beat. Yujiro is ruthless. Any and everybody can get the beats. Mind you. The nigga never loved her. All he wanted was for her to make Baki. We had some weird family issues going on. Yujiro doesn't really love Baki or his mom. Baki loves his mom. And Baki's mom doesn't love him but loves Yujiro. Crazy stuff. But she did save Baki's life, showing she actually did care for him. Somewhat. Speaking of how Yujiro treats children, we can't forget about that time he pressed Muhammad Ali Jr. when he was still in diapers. So bang! We find out Yujiro is actually locked in with the boxer Muhammad Ali. They had a little scuffle back in the day, but Yujiro gives Ali his utmost respect for what he stands for. And they rekindled, and Muhammad Ali wanted Yujiro to meet his son. If I'm being honest, I do not want a nigga like Yujiro anywhere near my son. I don't want him anywhere near me. I would have Dookie in my pants. But he meets Ali Jr. and he runs up to him, play fighting, punched him in his legs, showing him what he's working with. And Yujiro kneeled down. Just look in his eyes. This nigga doesn't have a soul. And with one finger, he flicked the snot-nosed Ali Jr. across the room. And he started crying, and Yujiro said, "Toughen up, little nigga. We don't do that crying over here. You'll make a good friend for whatever kids I have out there." We all know how that ended up. But as we can see, Yujiro has no mercy towards kids or women. So it's been a few years, and Baki thinks it's finally time to give Yujiro what he's been waiting for. Mind you, Baki's been training since he was a little kid, and he's like 18 now. This nigga was putting in work. But they're finally gonna run the father versus son fade. I was so excited watching this. I was bricked for about 3 days straight. I waited years for this moment. So Baki invites Yujiro over for dinner. They're cooking up some fried chicken, yams, mac and cheese, collard greens. It seems pretty wholesome, but we know the background between these two ain't normal about their relationship. These niggas really had a SWAT team outside the house. They knew what was about to go down. I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen Baki so nervous before. This nigga was petrified, walking on eggshells. So guess what happened that night? Nothing. They were edging us a little bit, but it's alright. We like that. This was basically the calm before the storm, their version of a press conference. But Yujiro invited Baki for dinner at this restaurant the next night, and holy moly, things heated up. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but Yujiro bodied Baki's mom. So Baki wanted to know why he did it, and that set Yujiro off. So he just upped and punched Baki right through the window. Mind you, they're on like the 30th floor. That escalated so quick. And they both went flying through the window, and Yujiro was really on bad timing, beating Baki's. He was beating him up all through the mall, just flinging him everywhere. Majority of this fight, Yujiro had the upper hand, but they end up taking it outside, and they see thousands of people watching. We learn the entire world is watching this father versus son fade. Niggas are live streaming it, recording it, paying for front row seats. This was a huge event all across the world. But Baki is still getting his beat in front of all these people. He couldn't keep up with Yujiro, but Baki does end up getting his hits in later on. They really left it all out there during this fight. Think about the tension that was building up for this fight. We got the strongest creature in the world with some crazy superhuman feats versus his son that he made sure sleeps, breathes, and eats fighting. And everyone starts realizing the beauty of it. They realize it was never really a fight and they were never really beefing. It was just a weird, dysfunctional way of bonding for them. Everyone in the crowd is appreciating it. Everyone in the crowd is appreciating it. Everyone in the crowd is appreciating it for what it is. They're getting ready to go square up with their own sons now. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do the same. Ronnie Jr., come here. So they end up bonding and having an imaginary dinner. And Yujiro admits that Baki is the strongest in the world. How beautiful. So it turns out, Yujiro never really hated Baki. He just wanted to fight him as an odd way of showing him he loved him. His love language is beating the out of you. What a guy. Hand me my napkin, somebody. Alright, this is the part where I try to sound smart and analyze their relationship. So bang, Yujiro is a rough, tough nigga. He has this twisted relationship with Baki, and this relationship is intertwined, great vocab word, with violence. He has a different way of parenting because he's the strongest creature to walk the earth. So he wants his son to follow in his footsteps. Y'all know how some dads want their sons to be basketball players and football players? He wants his son to be that nigga. So he doesn't care about having a typical sentimental relationship until Baki can beat his. He low-key wants Baki to raise himself in a way. Basically, once Baki gives him that knuckle sandwich, it's like, alright, now we can be cool. But that's going to wrap up Yujiro Hanma as a father. I hope y'all enjoyed. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay safe, and I'ma catch y'all niggas later. Subscribe!